Guys, I'm so excited. I'm in this beautiful studio in Nashville, Tennessee. You might recognize it because I was here probably a year ago, maybe even to this day, with Thomas, and we recorded a fun solo episode here. I will link it so you can go back and listen. But I'm stoked to be here. Number one, it's beautiful. Number two, it's filled with some of my favorite people, which are those at the That Sounds Fun Network. And I have some exciting news. Real Talk with Rachel Autry has now joined the That Sounds Fun Network here in Nashville with over 20 shows, and it has been a delight to work with the people, work with the friends. It doesn't really change much around here for you necessarily, but it just means that I'm being supported and being connected with some incredible people that are championing the show, helping me make this an even better experience for you. It has other shows that you probably know and love, like Lauren Aiken's shows on here, Carlos Whitaker, we got Kaylee Dickerson, all those fun people. I'm just so excited to be in a similar room online with. So I'm so grateful for you. It really is possible we can be represented in this way because of the friends we have online. So I want a chance to say, hey, here's what's up, and thanks for making this possible. Enjoy today's episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Rachel Autry, where I help you delight in life and find joy right where you are. Today's conversation I am so stoked about because number one, I'm in a really special place, and number two, I'm here with a very special person. I feel like I don't know, we're so similar in a lot of ways. We also are so different, and it's going to be really fun just to have a fun conversation.
We've already chatted for 30 minutes. We should have been rolling.
Yeah, our producer was like, are you sure you just don't want to go ahead and push record? We're like, whoa, wait, we'll save it. We'll save a lot of it. But it's going to be so fun. So many practical tips for you to take away and moments that'll make you go, oh yeah, me too. Just from two girls trying to figure out life right alongside you. So we're going to cut the fluff, have some real talk with Chandler Ashcraft. It's so fun. I feel like this is when I really want a live audience.
Do you know what? I was on the first podcast I was ever on, Josie, her name was, she's in Utah, and she had a board in the middle, we were sitting in bed together because something happened with her studio or whatever. Hilarious. But we were sitting in bed, but she had a little panel where she said Chandler Ashcraft, and then she pushed a button.
Pushed applause?
Yeah. And
that's what I'm talking about.
I'm telling you.
That's what I need.
It was good.
I'm like, psh, yeah. It's gonna be great. But for real, I think this is gonna be so fun. Number one, having a room with another woman in silence is a luxury and a privilege I never knew was a luxury and privilege.
No, especially in the stage that our children are right now.
Okay, let's
what
give
a
some
wild
context.
Thing. Yes.
Between us, we have...
Yeah, I don't know. You said 4.
I have two littles.
Your oldest is 4.
Almost.
Okay.
And then my youngest is almost 2.
Yeah. So how far apart are they then?
They're 19 months.
Okay, so that's the age gap of my first 2.
Yeah.
So I know that age gap well.
It's kind of brilliant, and also it's really tough. It's both and.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I told somebody not too long ago that with that age gap, I love it. I would do it all over again. I'm glad I did. Mm-hmm. And also, I still made the conscious choice to do that, and I would catch myself postpartum with my second 18 months apart, and I would just be like the most disheveled, tired version of myself, and I'd be like, you idiot. Like, what did you do? Like you asked for this.
Why did you do that?
Yeah.
I know, that's how I feel. Except my sweet Ollie was a surprise.
Yeah.
We were pregnant in between. Another surprise.
Okay.
Miscarried.
Okay.
And then no one told us that the first 6 weeks after miscarriage, you really should be the most careful because your body is just give me another baby. Yeah. And it did. It just made another one. And we were like,
yeah. Okay. So,
we were just
so similar but
choking
different.
On all of our words.
So not a miscarriage in between ours, but I had some things where I had not had a period from the time that I had my first till after I had my second. So we don't even know.
How did that happen? We don't know.
I don't know. I didn't even think I was ovulating. Okay, right. So anything like that. So when I say we weren't trying to prevent, but we were like, there's
no way.
Yeah. And so we were equally kind of like, oh wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're having 2 under 2.
Here we go.
Yeah.
There's a video that will never surface the planet, and it is me telling Thomas we're pregnant with Oliver, and he goes, how is that possible? I was like, we're never gonna...
excitement. There was
none.
no
And he was excited, I'm sure, deep down, but I think more so he was confused. He's like, and how did that happen?
Yeah.
Because what in the world?
Analytical side of them.
Yeah, we look like we have no fun.
Yeah.
Because
so real. Okay. I have to tell you, I know we're gonna rabbit hole a little bit, but
let's rabbit hole.
for my first, it's one of my favorite stories to tell, talking about like the start of a motherhood journey and all of the feelings and like how you evolve and change and you're scared, you don't want to be pregnant, you weren't planning. Okay, all the things. Okay, when I found out that I was pregnant with my first, also a surprise. We have a history. Also a surprise. I was 25 working at Lipscomb University here in Nashville. It's a Christian university right up the road. And I was working for their IDEAL program. It's a program for students with intellectual disabilities.
Cool.
Okay, so I was working during the summer. Our program worked because we were staff, not faculty. And I was going with some friends to a concert that one night. And I was like, Tyson and I, we had something. I was like, I didn't feel really confident about it. I was like, I don't really know if I'm going to go out and like have a drink, or if I'm going to go have a drink, let me just take a test just to be sure. They would be crazy if it actually was happening.
But to give me peace of mind.
Right. Okay. So I was in the bathroom at Lipscomb University, in the library's bathroom. There was not a soul there. No students were on campus. And I took a test, and it was one of the ones that just jars you to your, like, it doesn't fade. It's the one that just goes pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it just pregnant. And I remember like by myself holding it like a movie, and I opened the stall and I was just going like almost in tears. Like I couldn't even describe what the feeling was. I shock. I didn't want to be pregnant yet, but like was still excited.
Sure.
I called Tyson.
Oh my gosh, so complex.
It's so complex. I called Tyson. He's at he was eating somewhere by himself on his work break, and he said he just stood up and was shaking so hard, and he threw away all of his food he didn't eat. He came, drove, got me, and we just sat in his truck at 25 and 26, and we were just like silent in the car next to each other, and we were like, well, it'll be fine, we'll figure it out. And that was like everything, the story of like how we started on let's have kids.
Unbelievable. Ours was a little different, and a rabbit hole, here we go, but like it took us about like a year and a half. And so I don't know, whenever it really did happen, we were so excited. That's why I think we were so bamboozled with 2 and 3, because we were like, whoa.
Well, you tried, because we tried
so hard.
You planned, you tried, you ovulated, you did all the things.
And there was no plan, no trying. And then all of a sudden we were like, doof, doof. So anyways, nuts. Yeah. That's why I went to my doctor after Oliver, and I was like, so let's talk about precaution, because that was easier than I thought it was supposed to be. No one told me that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
One of my best friends has the same story. Same with her first.
Yeah.
Took him a little bit.
Yeah.
Took him a while.
Yeah.
And then from there, they got pregnant pretty easily, which praise God that was like their story too.
That's right.
But they were
it's
just
still
like,
a bamboozle. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, they were still shocked.
Still shocked. Okay, but let's talk about a shock. So you've got 3 boys. I've got 2. 5 kids in between us both.
Yes.
And you're pregnant with your 4th.
I am.
Okay, can we talk about how for a second you thought it was going to be 4 and 5?
I was going to have, guys.
Okay,
where's the camera?
Can we just like,
guys,
camera. I mean, the cameras.
I was going to, people joke that you're going to have, you're going to have a whole basketball team. I was legitimately about to have 5 boys.
Yeah.
A Phillip basketball team. They would all be about the same age.
Let's talk about what this means. People that maybe don't follow you online are like, what are they talking about? So for a hot second, you got I'm paraphrasing, so feel free to like add details.
Okay.
For a second though, you had gotten your gender test, like blood work back. And there was this part of it that basically said, it started giving you information about twins.
Yes. It was like a little chat bot at first, because we had never used this platform. I guess this was a new.
Okay.
A little chat bot.
A chat bot started talking and giving you information about twins.
We were like,
maybe
they just do that to everybody. Maybe that just like, it's just preliminary information for everyone. Okay. We were like, okay. Not us, but doesn't apply. But
at any point, when did you start getting like hot, sweaty, like, oh my gosh, wait, what is it trying to tell us right now?
Yeah. Towards the end of that message, once again, it's a platform we weren't used to using, so we clicked results, and then it started opening this chat bot. So we didn't automatically see it. It's just like almost like an AI kind of thing. Yeah. And it's telling you like, here's how you read your results, and here's what it means to have twins, and here's what it means when you have monozygotic twins. And we were just like, that's not us. That's not us. And then at the end it said, click to see your results. We click. I wish I had it up. I would take too long, pulled up my phone so I could show you the picture that we saw. And yeah, it just popped right up to twin boys. And we were like, I was like, I
would have thrown up.
I mean, my stomach was doing
flips.
Literal flips. We immediately called the doctor. We were like, hey, we've had ultrasounds. We've checked that there's one baby. This isn't our blood work. What does this mean? Can we go check immediately? And they're so wonderful. the nurse was like, yes, I will get you in immediately. And she was like, get in the car. It's 30 minutes away, and it starts in 30 minutes. So
they were also questioning like why that information was coming up. Yes. So they're like, does your blood know something we do not know?
Absolutely. And I've had so many stories from people on Instagram, so many moms who had gone through something similar, and they still had twins. And now I'm confirming I'm not having twins. We have definitely confirmed that I'm not having twins. I just went to my 16-week appointment. We talked through everything. There's one boy in there. But yeah, I've had so many moms tell me, hey, this happened to me. I had 3 ultrasounds, like a vaginal ultrasound and 2, like over the belly ultrasounds. And there was 2 babies in there, and no one found them until my 20-week appointment. Can you imagine going to a 20-week appointment already feeling anxious because you're like, okay, I want to make sure everything's okay. Baby's healthy. We have 5 fingers, 5 toes. There's no defects or things. Okay, you already going in with that notion, and then somebody says there's 2 babies.
I'm like having to tell myself, it's like I'm watching a horror movie and I'm having to remind myself I'm in a theater. Like I'm listening to the story, I'm like, wait, that's not my story. It's okay. Like we said earlier, everything is figure outable, but like that would take a second.
Yeah.
I have 2 close friends that have twins. One is about to give birth to her girl twins.
Yeah.
And she said our ride home was like echoey silent, awkward.
When did they find out? Like how far along?
I think it was like 12 weeks, like their first appointment.
Yeah. When they did like the, yes, do you do a vaginal ultrasound at 12 weeks?
I don't know.
Or over? I don't remember. But yeah, I just did it and I don't remember.
Yeah. So she is a triplet.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. And then now she's having twins, but it's her 3 and 4. So they're making a big jump.
Yes.
Yes. And then there's Emily on my team, and she had Hayes, who's Maddox's age, my oldest age, and then she had 2 twin girls. And she was also like a little bamboozled. Her brothers are twins. So like, I mean, like maybe there's a way to predict it. Who even knows? But like, whoa. Anyways, okay. But we have boys, lots of boys. That's why this is so refreshing.
Yes.
Because it's girl time.
Yes.
Girl chat.
Absolutely.
I love it. Praise God. But one of the reasons why I was really excited about having you in here, number one, I feel like I'm making a lot of lists, but here we go again. Number one.
Can you see she's making a phantom list? There's nothing in front of her.
I'm like reading off of my imaginary list. That's my brain. I'm like used to be type A, now I'm type B.
Okay.
So I tap in and out of my type A list.
I noticed that from afar. I wanted to ask you. I feel like you're very type A, objectively looking.
Really?
Like
okay, tell me.
No, from type
no,
A to
profile
type
me,
B.
Baby. Here we go.
No, that's the only really thing that I know objectively, just from like clicking through or on Instagram or whatever. The list and the stuff, I just know like with my ADHD brain, I was like, I can make a list, I can never execute a list.
Ah, okay.
Fully. But yeah, man, it just looks like from the outside so organized, so on top, especially when you're running a business and you're having babies. We've talked about all this off mics.
Yeah.
But I love to hear that you're type A gone to type B, because I say that about myself all the time. It is the greatest gift that I've ever given myself in this stage.
So much grace and compassion for me.
Yep.
I'm like, we're allowed to want it together, but then also to lose it to pieces.
It's just not the space. So we don't have the space.
We limbo. Like some days we wake up type A because type A version of Rachel is needed to survive.
Yep.
And then type B Rachel is more of the like, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I think Zoloft helps.
Yeah, I think medication helps.
Medication helps.
This podcast is sponsored by Zoloft.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we can go into all this too.
Yeah.
But again, here's my list. Are you
ready?
I'm
do your
going
list.
back to
I'm
my
sorry.
list.
Okay,
no,
yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna actively try to derail you from that list, but you're gonna keep going back to the list.
I come with an agenda, but I also type B, let it go.
Okay.
So here we go. Here's my type A.
Okay.
I love the fact that you are a mom that is equally invested in like having her kids experience things.
Yep.
And not just the typical, I don't know, American kid standard version of like how their experience should be.
Sure.
I also love that we acknowledge that there's like a version 1 of Chandler and Rachel and a version 2 of Chandler and Rachel because like naturally just your brain truly it's forced to open up when you are now caretaker, supervisor, nurturer of humans. That's just how it goes.
Yes. And doing it without certain supports and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or we just choose and pick where you have supports. But at the beginning, zero support, zero community.
Zero.
Something's got to give.
Yeah.
Okay, we can chat about that.
We'll chat about that. And having to navigate it and also choosing to not compromise who we are because our life has changed. And can I say that that is so countercultural to a lot of the conversations I have within my own friend group? I have a lot of friends that agree. I have a lot of friends without kids that think that having kids is all of a sudden going to like divert their lives into some black hole and they'll never see themselves again.
How can you not think that when it's culturally reinforced with everything that we see, with every
Hollywood,
with every
culture?
I mean, and culture meaning like from the products that are pushed to our scroll on social media to movies and media to books to the people that come before us and conversations we have about their experience.
Yeah, that's right.
It's all a echo chamber of we are what a stay-at-home mom especially looks like. And I know this conversation can go outside of that, but I know that's what I am, and that's kind of the lens in which I talk through, especially.
Yeah. And I think like life asks you to show up in a certain way, right? Like this season of our family life looks different. We'll talk about that off mic.
Yes.
And then, but there are seasons of life that do look like you're quintessential, all four of us at home. Dad has a 9-to-5 job. Like there's whatever. And so it ebbs and it flows. But like at the core, at the root, what kind of life and lifestyle am I trying to build that is sustainable, but also and realistic, but also one where I don't compromise Rachel because Rachel deserves to be Rachel and my boys deserve to see Rachel as Rachel.
Yes.
And that is setting up success for them and their wives and their future and their children and their family.
Yes.
And so kind of just like, I don't know, I want this conversation to be freedom.
Yep.
I desire this conversation to be practical. So people that maybe are choosing this paradigm shift are like not stuck with the paradigm shift, but they've got some tools.
Yep.
And then like some like stories, like this is something that you choose, but like thinking this way is something you choose, and yet like it's a skill to grow in. It's not a personality trait.
Yeah, that's so real.
So like, why did we choose to think this way? Yeah. So okay, backing on up.
Yeah, backing on up.
Do you feel like Chandler 1.0 when you were pregnant, when you know in that bathroom stall, you're like, oh my gosh, like were you? Did you get to a point before your first was born that you were like, you know what, actually, I think this is the way I want to do it, or was it baby was born? You were put into the conveyor belt of what motherhood should be, and then you were like, I'm jumping ship.
Yeah, the latter. I don't think you need to acquire a skill until it's necessary. And most of us don't. You can apply that to anything in life. You don't have to. I don't have to feel ready to know how to talk on a podcast until I'm sitting here talking on a podcast.
That's so good.
You know what I mean? I don't have to learn. I don't have to think 5 years down the road right now and be like, you know, what skill do I need to have a 10-year-old? Or, you know, when my child's 10.
So good. You will
honestly be shoved and forced into figuring it out. I love how you say everything's figure outable. I feel the same exact way. So when you ask that question, no, I was just passively just doing what you're supposed to do. So, you know, pregnancy, no one knows what they know.
Trying to read the books.
Yeah, you read the books. I'm following all of the accounts that I still recommend now, and I still talk about how beneficial they are and how they help me in that season of learning how to take care of a little one or being postpartum or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, so no, I was just doing all of the things that you do, and then baby was here, and at that time, so I've also been I've been a full-time working mom. I've been a part-time working mom. I've owned a own business and sold a franchise mom. I've been, I've done all the things. So all those things are happening too.
Yeah.
But about 6 months in with my first, I was part-time working at that point. That's kind of when I wanted things to look a little different. I started taking a step back and having more of a different narrative on like, okay, why does this feel like it's not working? What's the current system?
What was the moment? Like, what was it that was not working or that like forced you to just be like, okay, wait, pause. Let's figure this out because, whoa.
Yeah.
This is different than I thought it was going to be, or it's not as fun as I was sold it to be, or like what?
I think I have a moment. You'll have to remind me to jump back to this later when we talk about like we'll figure it out. Come on, kids, get in the car. We'll go somewhere.
Yeah.
I have a moment when I had 2 under 2 that really pushed me over the edge on that.
Okay.
So you have to remind me to come back to that. But with one, I don't think there was really a moment for me. It was more of just like we were out of the house every single day and just a little way. And I think over time that just grew. My threshold grew. Their wake windows grew. And I was still very much live and die by the nap schedule, which I am now. We have routine.
Sure.
But with one, I had so much. You can control all of the variables and you're the puppeteer of everything in their life because you have space to. You don't have another child. You don't have, at least as a stay-at-home mom in that moment in my season.
I think you're not put as into many situations where you're going to have to make decisions to pivot.
100%. Once again, I'm not forced into having to be in that season yet. Right. So I'm doing all the things perfectly.
You could stay home and do the nap schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's what I did. And we would, slowly start getting out. And I think I just started seeing the light and realizing how much better I felt just out of my four walls. I don't think it was like a one defining moment, but it just slowly with one happened over time. Yeah.
That's so good. And then now.
Did you have a moment?
That's a good question. Yeah, but I don't think my moment happened until I had my second.
Okay.
And I looked back, and again, I turned into a type B mom.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was because Thomas, so my husband's a pilot, and his job is to travel, and he's gone often. And when he's gone, he's gone.
Yeah.
And I remember having a moment where I was like, this just feels harder than it should be.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I'm doing something wrong, I think something wrong, or I am broken
wrong with me.
Yeah. And so I went to my doctor, and I was like, I don't know. I just want someone I can trust to like talk this out, and he's an angel. And I've talked about this. I have a podcast episode I'll link. It says like confession, I have postpartum anxiety.
Yeah.
And it felt like a big deal to be like.
Yeah. And then you realize I had postpartum anxiety.
Hindsight, I had postpartum anxiety with Maddox, my oldest.
I had such deep, without realizing it. Postpartum anxiety that manifested for me in schedules.
Yeah.
Down to the minute.
Yes, same.
Heart palpitations, like because of the accounts that I was on and the things that I saw, which were backed by science, they're data driven, all these things, they're important. But I would be like, my baby's brain's not going to develop if they're not down by 12
12 hours of sleep at night.
Yeah. Or if they're not down at this time, then the rest of the day is going to go to crap because if they're not down, then I'm going to.
That was me.
Yeah. And then. Yeah, I was like, the rest of the day is done, and then they won't be happy when Tyson gets home from work, and he only gets to see them for an hour at night, and then my brain started doing this, and I was so hard to be around.
Yes, same.
I was really hard to be around as a first-time mom, and I know everybody else was probably just watching with. It depends on who you were in my life, but some people were just like, geez, she's got to get together, judgment, and I had some people who are probably just lovingly being like, she'll get there, she'll get to the other side of this.
Patience.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, Chandler, copy paste. Yeah. Same story. We're like, I controlled by schedule. I craved the schedule. A lot of my other life was very unpredictable. We were in pilot training in the military. So like there was a lot of stress built in that like I needed something I knew I could control.
Yeah.
And that manifested through thinking I could control Maddox.
Yeah.
And that's just not true.
No, but you think you can with
your
first baby.
You're convinced.
Yeah.
Textbooks say.
Right. That's what the sleeping thing said, and that's what, baby, I never.
You've had 8 ounces. Why are you still hungry?
Yes.
Oh, because you're a human and I get cravings too.
Yes. Or I perfectly timed this wake window. You should be going into your bed and laying down like you had the last couple of weeks. Why is today any different?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Absolutely.
I just want to go give her a hug.
I really do too. Old like first mom Chandler needed a hug.
So then Oliver happened.
Yeah.
And I love him to death. I say there's a lot of similar people. Like I could probably meet you and be like, oh, you remind me a lot of so-and-so. I can't do that with Oliver yet because he is a one of a kind.
Yeah.
I know we all are, but like, no, actually.
Yeah.
I would love to meet someone else like Oliver grown up to be like, are you good?
Yeah.
Because he's just
I need to
so
feel
crazy.
comfort as a mom to be like,
will
is
you
this
make
what Oliver?
it?
Did we make it?
I love him. He's 22, 23 months old, almost 2, just like go for it. He just does stuff.
Drew, let me know if I'm okay. Sorry, I know I'm moving around, but you can let me know if I need to adjust my mic because I know I'm being wiggly.
No, you're so good. I'm just like, I need to know that you're gonna be good because you are good now. Of course, like you're amazing, perfect. I love you, but like, whoa, you're just different. You're a version 2, and I only ever knew a version 1, and so that kind of forced me to be like, I think that like. I can't force my kids to be anyway. They are who they're going to be. And like, what ecosystem can I put them in to shepherd them to become the best versions of who they're going to be? Not my version of who I want them to be.
That's so real.
And that looked like realizing, and Sissy Goff really was the one to speak a lot of this wisdom into me. She was like, they don't need a perfect mom. They need a mom that can repair.
Yeah.
And they don't need a mom that has the schedules down and their life is predictable. They need a mom that enjoys the life she has.
Yes.
And they can see evidence of God in their mom's life because her mom's speaking it out and not focusing on things. And Lisa Turker says this, but you steer where you stare.
Yeah. So
if you're always looking at what's hard, all you're really going to see is what's hard.
Yep.
And if you find things to delight in, like all of a sudden life becomes delightful.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just was one of those where I was like, I have to make up my mind before I expect anything else to change.
Yeah.
So again, I think it was
That's
like
real.
a slowly being like, I really want to enjoy this. I don't want to look back 18 years down the road when I don't know what 18 years is going to look like, but maybe, I don't know, then moved out of the house and being like, oh, I made it. Glad that's over.
Yeah.
I want to be like, wow, that was epic and I miss every day.
And
And I want them to think the same.
Yeah.
And maybe that's performative of me. I don't know. Maybe that's also just that's just what I want. I want them to look back and look forward to coming home and introducing their girlfriends to me and being besties together as brothers. And that only really happens when I set the tone. I set culture.
That's so real for your own house.
For my own house.
The way it looks like.
Anyways, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Well,
I
that's
mean,
how I feel about it.
Yeah, I do too. I think this kind of wraps into what we're talking about and going back from A to B. It's really easy to just say, like, when you talk about, like, well, I want to be this fun mom. I want to be this free mom. I want to be this live life mom. I want to be experienced mom. I want my kids to see all these things. There's some like very actionable things that have to happen under the hood for that to happen, especially like I know if I'm hearing that and I'm first time mom hearing this, I'm going to be like, this is what I hear on my page too.
Yeah. But
but it's like, man, but that laundry and the dishes and like, how am I feeding them and getting out of the house, and how are we feeding the nutritious food and then getting out of the house? How are you doing it all and still being this like fun adventure mom where like you are living your life, they're living with you? And the answer is like, you don't. Like something has to give on the other side. Yeah. All of the time. It's just a choice to
come on, Chandler.
It's
just so good.
I mean, it's just a choice to close your eyes sometimes and be like, I am the type A person who I want everything put back in its place, and I want to have these systems, and I want to have all these things look whatever version of that is. But I can't if I also want to live this kind of full life with them in this stage. And what I say frequently, and it has a double-edged feel to it, because I don't want people to feel this time scarcity, like where we only have this time when they're little. Course. We all feel it. Goodness, we all feel it. But you will never have this much time freedom in your entire life. A stay-at-home mom, okay? I'm speaking from a stay-at-home mom perspective. But there's notions, or there's pieces of this that can kind of be transferred no matter what kind of work schedule you have with weekends and the way you approach things, for sure. But especially as a stay-at-home mom, their schedule will never be this free, and your schedule will never be this free, layered on top of each other ever again in your entire life. 5 is when school starts and things start to shift. I'm seeing that now with, I just do 2-day-a-week kindergarten, but even with that, things are starting to shift. I'm entering big kid land. I have a little kid. I don't have a toddler. I have a bigger kid. You know, he's in kindergarten. And to have those nothing days where you look down the barrel of the week and you're like, what are we doing today? What are we doing this week? We have nothing.
These are the moments.
Those are when you're like, what do I want to do today?
Right. Let's talk about that. Let's go there. Because I do think that there is like the first time mom, or even, fourth time mom that could be listening, and she's like, that ain't me. And it's not because she doesn't want to be. I think it's just because she doesn't have tools in the tool belt, or, funny illustration, but she's trying to use a drill as a hammer because no one's taught her any differently. Yeah. And so, no pressure to like give her all the tools and teach her how to use them right now, but like you are really good at getting out of the house, having fun, getting creative with your time. Yeah. And that takes a lot more than I think what people see online. I think that takes preparation. I think it takes spontaneity in both end. And I also think it takes like being prepared to be able to do the fun. It doesn't look like Chandler just throws the kids in the car and goes. Sometimes,
but that takes a couple years of experience of just being like, my standards are so low, I don't care. That kid probably still has a pull-up on where he doesn't need one, and one kid has a sock, and the other one has PJs on backwards because they put it on. But I don't care because we just need to get in the car and go somewhere.
That was me the other day. Yeah. I was like, we just got to go through a drive-through. Yeah.
But I feel like there's no middle ground. It's either like we're prepped to the nines, or it's an absolute where half of us are in costumes. And
yes. Yeah. I'm like going to like the park that nobody else goes to so no one else sees us, or the science center.
100%. And when I'm going to the science center, that took some planning and some thought and some prepping and some packing. Yes. Yeah, I feel like there's no in between. But
None.
That's just,
okay, so then let's like back it up for a second. And you want to encourage the mama who is listening who's like, oh man, like I want to be that. I see it online, or maybe they even follow you and they're like, I want that. Like, what are some of the tools or like ways to kind of just dip your toe in and gain the confidence to be able to go and do the big stuff?
Yeah. The earlier, the better. Now, if you
during the day or during their life?
Quote during life. There's no quote window that, you know, even if you feel like, oh, I didn't do this when they were younger, so I don't have. You can always build these skills. Always. But if you're first dipping your toe in and trying to have more outings with your kids, and kind of be out and doing your thing with them, things that you like, things that they like, some middle ground stuff, is to start small. Just start small. Figure out what stresses you out and think backwards from that. If it's a safety issue where you don't feel like you don't feel safe when you go to certain places, all right, let's step back, avoid. Where do you feel safe? If it's a schedule issue where maybe you have varying ages and you're trying to make it back to nap time, or maybe you don't want to take a nap on the go and flex that way. Okay, well then what's your timeline look like? Let's look at some places around you. What are your options, even if it is a stroll in Walmart? What are your options around you?
Or this is one of our favorites, but like we say we're going to go borrow another neighborhood.
Yeah. And
we like take a stroller and just walk around someone else's neighborhood.
Just to look at different stuff.
Because they need different stuff. I need different stuff.
Absolutely.
/ our neighborhood is so hilly.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I need flat ground.
I don't want to work. I don't want to work today.
Jogging stroller and flat roads.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And a sidewalk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be science center.
It doesn't have to be science
center. It could be field. It could be a track at a high school.
Yep.
Like anything.
Yep, it really can. But yeah, just starting small and slow until you build that confidence. Even if you need to go on a weekend or sometime where you have your person with you as a safety net so you can practice by yourself, quote unquote, that's always a good place to start. I did that with every transition into more children. My husband would go with me and I would just practice. I would be independent, but he would be there as a safety net. So just for one outing, like let me just practice getting my double stroller out for the first time and figuring out the order on like how you put kids in and how you get one out versus the other and what directions to give one child. You just sit in the front seat and I will let you know if I need you, but I just need to practice. I mean, some of the stuff takes literal practice.
Tyson, yes.
Yes, but anyway, start slow and small and you will build your confidence is the short answer to that.
That's so good. Yeah, I remember this significant moment when I took Maddox, I think he was like 3 months old, to Old Navy. Because I was like, I need some clothes that fit. Yeah. And so I went to Old Navy and I tried clothes on and he slept for half the time, was cooing the other half of the time. I remember getting in the car after and being like, I freaking did that.
Yeah.
I just did that.
Yes.
And so what did we do the next time? We didn't go to Old Navy. We went to like a mall, you know? Or like I went to a restaurant by myself with him. We had a little date. And it like slowly grows the evidence that like I am qualified. I do know what to do. Ish has hit the fan and I have recovered.
Yes.
And I will also say
that piece that sends you further.
Yes.
It's not
talk about that.
It's not just the pieces that are like this has gone really great. So
or
I have more
avoiding
confidence.
the bad.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's, in my opinion, it's the times where it goes horribly wrong or so wrong it's laughable. That are the moments when you get to that other side where you're like, well, I've seen that situation now.
I've survived.
I survived it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't great, and I had to bail, and maybe I shed a few tears as well, but we made it past that point. Yeah, I think the good moments give you confidence, but especially the ones that are like, I got caught in the rain with 2 kids, or I didn't have the materials I needed, and I wiped a poopy diaper with a towel or a shirt I had in my bag and had to throw it away.
Yeah, I've been there.
Like, right? Like, those are the moments where you're like, oh, okay, well, it wasn't perfect, but I did it, and I can do it again. Because next time I go, I'll have those diapers, or next time I go, or those wipes. I'll know what to do a little bit differently to pivot. And also, even if you're prepared to the most unpredictable demographic of children that we have right now, these toddler years, like, even if it still can just go haywire, and
if you can have it all figured out and it's still not be what you had planned, and that's why I'm type B now. I've signed up for the type B life.
Absolutely.
Because of that.
Absolutely. Because you're forced to.
Can I also say that this applies to so much more than motherhood? I'm hearing you talk about this, and I'm like, man, those are my friends in the corporate world that had to have a brave conversation, and now they're like, oh, wait, I actually don't mind setting boundaries. Yeah. Or it could be in your, like, relationship, friendships. Yeah. Maybe you don't have friends, and you, like, are the first time ever, like, baking something and bringing it to a neighbor you don't know. It's like, You do it once, and you're like, oh, it actually wasn't that bad.
Absolutely.
You know, and then you do it again.
Absolutely.
And I think that we're not put in uncomfortable positions enough to be able to grow in confidence, in resilience when things go wrong, or even in dependency on like other people, because we got it figured out. Like we're comfortable. We know we do, and we don't stray. And like choosing a life where you do play and you do spontaneous and you try new things and you mess up and you make it right, like actually grows you into someone I think we all desire to be.
Absolutely.
And motherhood's just a great angle to do that, because man, it's humbling.
It is the most,
but
most humbling.
I'm like, I don't have it right. We went to the farmer's market, I think like a month ago. Got there, strolling around, got the boys a chocolate chip cookie. It was massive. It was melty. It was hot. Chocolate everywhere, everywhere. Went to the diaper bag. Oh, wait, where's the diaper bag? Oh, no, what do we do? And then, like, we're going to the bookstore, and they're touching these chocolatey hands on books. I was like, oh, my God. And then, anyways, I went to this mom. It was so cute. She had, the bassinet stroller. And I was like, she's got wipes.
She's definitely got wipes.
She's the new girl here. Like, I will ask her for the help. So I was like, hey, so cute. Oh, my gosh.
It's always the second, third time, fourth time moms that are
They're
just
like asking for help.
Yeah, because it's like, we're the ones that are too overconfident.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, I don't need a diaper bag.
We're fine. We'll figure it out. Like, we'll just take off your shirt if it gets too bad. Like,
yes. So I'm like, oh, Rachel, pull it together. When I went to this cute little bassinet, I was like, so gorgeous. Do you have a wipe? You know, I was like, I need help.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I got wipes. And she like pulls it out from her like diaper organizer, folds out and pulls it out. How many do you need? I was like, all of them.
Can I use a lot?
Can I use a lot? And I even was like, in fact, can I just take this and bring it back? I don't know what I'm going to need. It's a lot of chocolate. And she turns around, she goes, oh, yeah, just bring them back. I was like,
wait, you asked a random lady with can I just use this whole thing? And you stay here, I'll be right back.
Yeah. So if you were that woman in Little Professor, the bookstore in Pepper Place Market on about a month ago, I love you. I owe you a coffee. I brought it back, and I was like, thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great day. She's beautiful. Have a great day. We've been there. And I've also been asked, like, hey, do you have a size 4 diaper? And I'm like, oh, no, it's have size 5. She's like, it'll work. I was like, take it. Like, I think it just, I don't know. I think that's just, like, what makes motherhood so fun and an adventure. And when you have it figured out, I'd say, like, maybe you don't dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
So anyways, or you're too comfortable to try something new.
Yeah. Or you're too comfortable and you're fine where you're at. There's, like, you're cool. You're chilling with your current schedule. You don't want to venture off because everything is good. It's great. Like, I don't think, like, how we kind of started the podcast where I was like, you don't need a new skill. Or you don't usually acquire a new skill until you need it. I think that's the story of a lot of motherhood journeys is, like, with one kid, you don't feel like you need to be a type B mom until you're forced to, if you have, like, two close together. Or whatever your story is. But I think that's...
Or twins.
That's like an...
Bless you.
Yeah, or twins jumping in right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever that means for you. But I think that's pretty across the board normal for, like, an evolution of mom.
Okay. You said that you were going to mention a story you wanted to come back to. Yeah. Is this a good spot?
Yeah.
You have me on the edge of my seat.
Oh, my goodness.
Like,
no, this is great. But you were talking about, like, a moment in motherhood that I can specifically think of that it was a literal moment that was like light switch, and then it changed a behavior for me moving forward. One of those was I was already out adventuring with my first, and your adventures grow as your babies get older. You're so slow and snuggly in the the first little bit of their life, as you should. You're recovering. We're only doing things we're feeling comfortable with, as we all should be doing. So I was already out adventuring. Then I had 2, and I had, figured out when we were going to take outings that would work with both nap schedules and all the things, right? Okay, so I was still pretty structured because I wanted to be, and that worked for me. Yeah. With a little bit of flexibility, but what really pushed me just so far to the side of, I will literally throw my kids. If you asked me to go to California today when I got home with my children, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I would throw some things together. We would get in the car and we would go. To get to that point of just, like, truly jumping in and figuring things out, one of my best friends who lives in Oxford, Mississippi, she came down to visit us in Nashville. Okay. She had 3 children at the time. I had 2. And I was a very, like, bedtime schedule mom until then, too, which I still am. But once again, lots of flexibility since this moment. Right. Yes, just like you when you were out. Recently, you posted where you were out at a concert, then you went to like a...
Oh, right, yeah, we went to a hockey game.
Yeah, and just the spontaneous part
the parking
of it. Okay,
lot shared the fairgrounds. And so, like, how do you take a 3-year-old past a fair to the car without going to the fair?
Okay.
So it was 9:45, we were at a fair,
there
3-year-old.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yes. Yeah. So to kind of get my brain to do that, which
sure.
first time mommy would be like, absolutely not.
She's nuts.
Nuts. Or I would do a lot of prepping to make sure that happened.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, my friend came down and instead of her saying, all our husbands were gone, so it was just me and her and 5 kids, and the oldest at that point was 3.
Okay.
Maybe 4, just turned 4.
Sure.
Okay, so we have 4 kids, 5 and under.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, hey, I'm going to be in about like 7 o'clock. Where do you want to go get dinner with everybody? And like not even a beat of like considering, hey, let's order in. Like, do you want to put all the kids down? Do you want to
like, well, who has a good kids menu?
Yeah, whatever. She was like, where do you want to go eat? And so we talked about where we were going. We were going right up the road to 12 South. There was an ice cream place we could walk around to, and a good kind of casual spot for the kids. And we just had the best night. I think we were out till like 10:30 or so, and that was kind of a moment for me where it was a light switch and being like, and look, we're all okay. And look,
pulse check.
Yeah, and look, we're all okay. And there was some tears, but like there's tears all the time when you're out with kids. And there's a few meltdowns we got across, and there's a few extra snacks here, and we had to give over here and flex on these rules and flex on this rule we typically had. And we had the greatest night of our life. And I think from that moment for me, moving forward, I turned into a yes mom to the utmost degree at that point. I was definitely a yes mom, where I will sacrifice my kids not having a nap to go do something fun. Or, flex where we can maybe take a shorter nap in the car. We're always still thinking about those things and make sure we're honoring them and still honoring us. But I was definitely a more, yes, we'll stay up till 11 and they'll fall asleep in the car and we'll recover the next day. And this isn't an everyday thing, right? So don't get too scared if you're listening to this or anything. But it's like when the moment comes, we will say yes. That was a moment for me.
Those are really sweet moments too, because when they're the memories those are the core memories that we joke about, like core memory, but like no, that's how they're made.
And for you more than anything. I mean, I think it lives within our kids a little bit, but I don't know if they're going to have like a 3 years old. I remember going with mom to XYZ. I think the culmination of that lifestyle.
That's so good.
Will live kind of within their bones a little bit.
And it's a both and. Like, those moments can't exist if there is no schedule, because then there's no, like...
You have to have a schedule to fall back on and a routine to go back to. That's the best part about having
for something to be a treat. It's like...
Absolutely.
If like a orange juice at a restaurant is not a treat if you could drink orange juice every morning.
That's so real.
So it's the same. It's the same. Like, they have to have a schedule to be able to enjoy the flex.
And I most moms and everybody, we need a schedule to live, to be able to have some predictability and like when to do things.
And we're creative with rhythm. Yeah. But I say this, I have a book that's coming out in 2025 in August.
I wanted to ask you about that off,
but off my, okay.
Okay, tell me.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because who knows if it's going to even be in there. Anyways, I have this part where I'm talking about rhythms, and I'm like, every one of the, you name one of your favorite songs, I bet you it's got a key change. Like, you name one of your favorite songs, it's got a bridge. And so, like, there's verses, there are choruses, there's a beat, there's a melody. But, like, the best songs are because they get your attention again and you, like, re-involve yourself because there's a switch. And so rhythms are nice and beats are needed and routines are so amazing. And we thrive on routine. We've been built, created to need rhythm. But it is so fun when you're able to play and switch it up, and those make the best songs, and those make the best lives. And so I don't know. I just don't want us to get so in our heads about how it should be as moms, or, as people. We forget, like, this, that we can choose. We have a lot more choices than sometimes we think we do. So
I think so, too. Especially the demographic that I speak to on my page, especially stay-at-home moms. You have but especially with little kids, it seems like your time has shifted from pre-kids to post-kids to, like, you have the most restricted schedule in the world, and opening the perspective of changing that, like, you have the whole day to decide
the world's your oyster.
What you want to do, truly. And a big shift there is, like, and I think maybe lies too harsh, but, just enforced by society that we can't meet our baby's needs outside the home. We can't snuggle with our baby outside the home. We can't feed our baby outside the home. We can't we can take care and love and do all those things with our baby outside of the home, doing something that we like as well. And it's not all us, it's not all them. You know, it's a pieces of all of us. That's why I talk about family-centric outings on my page a lot. It's honoring everybody. It looks different every day, but it can be done. And I think whenever you start shifting your mindset to, like, I can live this life and my baby can come with me, man, it's different for everybody. But for a lot of people, I think your mind, your body, your perspective, everything gets a little lighter, and you find, I know that phrase, you find your pink back. I think you find your pink back a whole lot faster. Yeah, when you have baby outside the house with you. But there's time to be at home. It's not a abandon.
That's right.
You know.
And I want to honor you and like all of the moms that are doing it, because I think it takes me going out in public and seeing babies at concerts or babies at parks or places that aren't like typical kid-friendly spaces that are actually friendly for children. Absolutely. That you just have to decide to bring them. But like, I want to honor people like you that do that, because I think you're also setting a tone. You're the living like proof for a lot of people that need the proof that it can be done. And imagine like if we were all able to take this perspective and move forward with it, like how even we could see society change.
I think so too. And it's a chicken or the egg conversation, because what keeps us in is saying, all right, well, I'm not going to bring my baby to a not accommodating space, or maybe I don't have a changing table, or maybe I don't have, I'm at a restaurant that might not have little things that moms know that would be helpful, but they don't have them. So like, I feel like maybe I have societal pressure too there, and all the hindrances. I think it's a chicken or the egg conversation, where if the demand is there first, I think then other places will change and say, oh, there's a market here to have. Yeah, let's make sure we have a more accessible changing table, or make sure that we're meeting ADA regulations where, that we can get our stroller in, and not just but also our friends who use wheelchairs and stuff too. Like if it's not compliant for us, definitely not compliant for them. They can't be independent and be in that space. That's a sidebar, but I think the demand is there first, and the more that we're out with our kids, and the more that society is used to seeing moms out with their kids, especially in non-kid spaces, I think we then shift. And this isn't an all or nothing conversation. This isn't like an attitude where it's like, I deserve to be here, my baby deserves to be here, we deserve to be here, moms deserve to be seen, without any sort of nuance there of like, and also, you deserve to be here in this space as a patron as well.
That's right.
And also,
as a taxpayer.
Yeah.
Take advantage of this. Yeah.
Yes, this space also, like, we talk about a lot, respecting the people and the setting around us. Like, there is a way to cohabitate and kind of have strategies with your kids out in public, where everyone can kind of kumbaya a little bit. And it takes honestly, some social awareness by mom a little bit too, to understand, little things. Hey, maybe you're working next to me and you have your headphones in and you're working. It's probably not going to be a great time for me just to be like, oh, kids will be kids. They're just running around, there's a moment.
We mutually respect everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you deserve to be here. I deserve to be here. And I think the more you're out and see that in practice, the more you'll find your strategies too. But my page too, for people who don't know. Yeah. And a resource we have coming and things like that. And courses. We just filmed a big course that took forever. Holy smokes, talk about work. We'll just help you kind of fill the gaps of that knowledge a little bit.
Okay, so shameless plug. Yeah. Where can people find you so they can keep up with all the things? Yes. Find inspiration. Like, it's just so contagious. Like, when you see people like you do it well. Yeah. I know it takes effort, but effortlessly. Yeah. And just transparency. It's just like, if you are not already following Chandler and you're listening to this episode, like, this is your sign at this moment. Like, go to Instagram, click follow. Yeah, where can they find you? And give us a little tease about what they can find there.
So mainly on Instagram, because we are moms who are running businesses, and I sure do not have the bandwidth to be across.
Can you imagine?
A lot of different platforms with a handle, a lot of different stuff. That's primarily where I am on Instagram. My handle is @ChanWithTheBoys. And then I syndicate stuff to TikTok. Sometimes there's little stuff on there. But in the works currently I won't give away the name or anything like that. I want to hold it close to my chest, but
you hold those cards, girl.
Yes, but there is a product line, as well as resources, courses, guides, very practical tips from a real mom who has a background in special education and behavior, all the things and all the experience under the belt. Real life tips are coming. We'll have a website up. We're going to have, I've hinted about some on-the-go toys and real strategies to kind of keep us busy out. And what we've used for the last 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like what you probably would have loved to have known.
Yeah.
Because you're not just like throwing noodles at the wall to figure it out. Like you're giving people the blueprint to actually doing this.
Absolutely. And I wanted it to kind of serve as a same purpose of like if you download if you're newly pregnant or you want to be pregnant, taking care of babies or big little feelings. Those are big ones. I want our brand to kind of be up there and kind of change the dynamic of pre-kids, post-kids life and kind of bridging the gap, especially here in America where we don't really live a family-centric vibe, just with all kinds of external factors here and the way that our communities are built and we don't really live in walkable communities anymore. So the skill of leaving the house is more important than ever. I think it's one of the greatest skills you can give yourself as a new mom is to learn to leave the house. And that's kind of what all my resources and things have been working towards since I've been in the space for 2 years. So
applause button. This would be the box. I'm like,
we've been teasing a little bit of it for so long, but it definitely is a lot more work than I even anticipated, especially being mom full time too on top of it. So, and I hope it'll be good. And as anything, I think new versions kind of arise. So like version 1.0 might be like we're talking about like doing it scared and jumping in. Version 1.0 will still have a lot of value, but maybe it won't. Maybe I'll pivot down the road. It doesn't look as well, or maybe the production's not as great, or maybe I'm too wordy and I learned how to make a better course down the road. All those things will probably happen, just like you've seen in your business.
Yes.
But version 1.0 is coming out soon. But I'm really excited about what we're manufacturing.
Yeah.
And putting together. I think I don't know if patent's the right word. You can tell where we're at with language as I'm learning as I'm going. But I think we put enough legal parameters around it where I can kind of tell a little bit more. But it is going to be a line that helps mom get out of the house, period. And so that's from that, our ideas are you're going to go and see hopefully this brand where you can go and grab it. I'm going to go on a road trip. I'm going to grab a road trip box, or I'm going to go on a plane. I'm going to grab a plane box. Or
Chandler, I'm so pumped for you.
Yeah. Or I need another place for my baby to sit when I'm in public. And so I'm going to have a bouncer or whatever that can be on the go. So all products and everything is just helping support moms to get out of the house, serve themselves alongside their babies. But I'm really passionate about that. And I think I have a good creative director on board, and it's been fun working with her and figuring all that out. So it's fun that if you follow, you'll be able to follow along for the journey too. And as we figure it out on the business side and all the things that go into your stuff too, just doing it, just doing it. Yep. That's the only way to figure it out. Just like we're talking about outings and life and everything.
You don't need to figure it out until it's right in front of you.
Yeah. And sometimes it might just not be your best version at first. It never is. So
no, it never is.
Yeah,
there's always room to change, evolve, and grow, and change your mind, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, one last fun question for you.
Let's do it.
What is something that you're loving these days that you have to share with our friends listening?
Say more. Product, place.
Literally, I'm leaving it open-ended on purpose because it could be product, song, place, recipe, book, like anything that you're like, oh my gosh, I'd be remiss to not tell you.
I'm a big music girl. Do you ever see that on my?
I'm a big music girl as well.
That just fills me up. Like if I'm in the car driving, we're listening to good music.
What are you listening to?
I just saw a band called. They were here at Nashville. They were at the Brooklyn Bowl. They're called the Dip, and I really like them.
Okay, cool.
They're like a jazz funk band, jam band out of where are they from?
That's so fun.
Yeah, somewhere Midwest. I don't want to butcher it, but
do you have like a playlist that you go to, or do you create your own playlists?
I have a giant playlist that I really love, but I've had so many people ask for music that I have a little vibey fall playlist that I've posted on my stories that people can find. But I think when you ask what I'm obsessed with, it changes because I get fixated on things.
I fixate
easily, and then I'm on to the next. But right now,
your fixation is
the Dip, the band The Dip.
Okay,
yeah, really love them. Yeah,
that's so fun.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh gosh, that's very funny. Like, what am I obsessed with, or what am I listening to?
Give me both.
Isn't it so funny? I have to like.
Well, when you ask like open-ended, I'm like, man, my brain goes so many
everywhere.
pieces. Give me music then.
Okay, music. Oh man, I love camp.
I love
CAAMP.
Mm-hmm.
We love. I mean, we're in Nashville, so I have to say, but I have been following Drew and Ellie Holcomb since high school.
Oh, you've been a long time fan.
A long time fan. And we're seeing them now. It's fun because Ellie's been on my show, and like it's just so fun, full circle. But we're going to a Drew and Ellie Holcomb concert in February, which is going to be great.
That's amazing.
So
yeah,
that's fun music. What else do I really love?
I feel like I'd have to look at my phone.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't want to be a screenager, but yeah. Oh, also, I feel like I'm sending this to a lot of my friends, but Chapel Sessions, it's House Fires and Nick Day. They like redo a lot of our favorite worship songs.
Okay.
Very fun.
Noted.
Unplugged live vibe.
Okay.
Love that. I feel like I'm sending that to a lot of my friends. But yeah, that's what I love listening to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it. I wish my brain could go somewhere else on like sharing another something. Places to go or what I'm liking or
isn't it so hard
using.
All
And
of a sudden?
it's like my brain just is.
Okay, well, if y'all want to know more about what she's doing, just
follow
her
me,
online. She shares everything she loves. It's great.
That's my job.
And me too. Like, if you want to know what I'm loving, I'll think about it as soon as we leave, right?
Absolutely.
Mics turn off, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
I know what it was going to be.
Absolutely.
That's how it always goes. Oh, Chandler, thank you so much
for
being here. And we're just like, loving on our girls and encouraging them, saying like, really, you can do this.
Yep.
There is a way. It might be messy and it might be weird and awkward, but it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Take it from you. Take it from me. Like, it can be done.
It can. From the type A recovering people that we were.
Mm-hmm.
It can be done.
From 2 type B moms
to now type B moms.
Yep. It's amazing. It's amazing. Y'all have
thanks for having me on.
Of course. Oh my gosh, this brings me so much joy. Yay for estrogen.
We don't have a lot of it in our house.
For conversations like these. Thanks so much for listening to another episode with us. It would mean the most if you took 30 seconds and left us a 5-star review in whatever platform that you're listening in right now. It's one of the best and free ways that you can love on us. So don't forget that anything we mention in today's episode, from resources, products, and more, can all be found in our show notes at realtalkwithrachel.com. For more updates, behind the scenes, and fun chats, head over to Instagram and follow us at Real Talk Podcast.